that first half, I thought we was in for a Martin sacking at half-time. I thought it has to be the end.
A lot of them took it on themselves, I hope, to go, what are we doing? What are we doing? We want to get the fans back on side. And by the end of it, you know, it was a better atmosphere.
Apparently this guy was actually at Brentford when they went through their worst injury crisis. You'll fit in perfectly.
It's not Dr. Nick from The Simpsons.
Hi, everybody! I have no issue with the captain of Tottenham Hotspur, Romero, calling out the board and their shortcomings.
I love Pooty. I don't want him to go. I want to build around him. And you know who's going to do that? Uncle Poch. Uncle Poch comes in.
He won't go.
With Papa Ardiles. Yeah, they're going together. Look, the Argentinian little flair.
There's this big conversation about the World Cup.
Yeah.
Who should be the understudy to Harry Kane? I think Solanke's putting in a great case.
Just sell the club to someone that's going to look after it and make it into a proper football club.
Hello and welcome to Inside Spurs, talkSPORT's dedicated Spurs show where we talk all things Tottenham Hotspur. This show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18+. Gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. My name's Majestic. Alongside me, as always, is Sonny Snelling from Sonny Talk Spurs and fellow Spurs fan and content creator, Abby Summers. Hi. How are we, guys?
Good. How are you?
A bit more positive this week. I mean, after a draw, but... You know,
I just feel like when Spurs fans see our faces lately, it feels like the faces of doom. So today, I want to... Do you know what? I was positive in that last show a little bit, wasn't I?
The only one, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it seeped into the performance a little bit.
We are all too.
Are you claiming that? You claiming the first half?
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it briefly because we haven't seen each other since Spurs Manchester City. And do you know what? I think this is a good talking point because see, as Spurs fans over the years, there's been actual games we've lost, football games, and we walked away from it going, do you know what, we lost, but that was a good game of football. And as a fan, I can tolerate that. We come away from a draw with Manchester City at home. Obviously, the first half, we was all talking on WhatsApp, and you was live as well, and it's like the end of the world was coming. But by the end of it, we finished with a 2-2 draw at home against Manchester City. But the second half performance, the way we battled back, and some of the passages of play we saw was so much more positive than what we've seen that it actually gave us a bit of hope. I think that's the only thing we can say.
Sure. Yeah, hope. I mean, let's be honest. That first half, I thought we was in for a Martin sacking at half-time. I thought it has to be the end. Like, there's no way that he...
Did you hear Adele? This is the end.
I just thought there's no way that he survives this. Like, we've all seen us be awful majority of this season. And that, I thought that even lowered the bar.
Was that Chelsea-Arsenal?
That was, I think I said this on Goals. I was like, that I think was, the performance of it was lower than Arsenal and lower than Chelsea, but obviously the magnitude of it wasn't the same because it wasn't a derby, but the performance was absolutely horrendous. I don't know what's happened in that dressing room. I don't know what went on, what was said, who put a rocket up them, who gave them something to believe in, and whoever decided to pull that game by the scruff of the neck. But that second half, it was as if they swapped shirts with City. I couldn't understand it. And I was like, I think I was in disbelief for a lot of it. Like, there's plenty of clips that have done the rounds this week of when Solanke's scorpion goal goes in the back of the net. I was genuinely not celebrating from like a bad energy place.
No.
It was from, I was so shocked. Firstly, he scored a scorpion kick. And on top of that, I'm like, what on earth is happening here?
You were confused.
I was so confused. I was bamboozled. I was literally seeing my team attack, create, have energy in the final third, move the ball quickly, have hunger, play for the badge. And obviously, like, as Spurs fans, like at half-time, it's very, very negative. Everyone's booing, and rightly so. But you give us something. You give us anything to get behind, and we will get behind you. Because at the end of the day, we just want to see the team play attacking football at the very least. At the very least. And I was so shocked by that second half performance. I definitely didn't see it coming. Definitely didn't.
How did it end up being a much better performance, Sonny? And why was it so bad in the first half? Is it the way Frank set up or what?
See, a lot of people were saying to me, like, on messages, especially Arsenal fans, because obviously that game meant a lot to them, was like, oh, why aren't you supporting the team? Why aren't you cheering on? Why is the stadium so flat? Because it was coming across like that on radio and on the TV. But at the moment, and Abby makes some really good points, there's nothing to get behind. Like, if you want to go to the football and be entertained, and that first half was one of the worst halves again this season. I feel like we say that weekly. I just feel like the players I think this is the thing where like people debate like as Frank lost the dressing room and the players playing for him. I think a lot of these players are trying to, and I said this after like Villa in the Cup and Sunderland. There have been some good performances where I've sat there and a lot of people debate them on all the forums, say who's to blame here because we always, the owner, the manager, the players. I think this is a good crop of players who a lot have been chucked under the bus. I think you've got to look at the likes of Basuma, Dragerson especially. I mean, I know like Dragerson's agent touts him up. But again, at the weekend, he's been chucked in the deep end. His first start since January last year. Basuma's come back from AFCON thinking he's going to be heading out the door and he's come in and been all right. Conor Gallagher's come into all this mess and, it's been a bit chaotic. So maybe a lot of these players have got a lot to prove. And I think what happened was, I think it's a mixture of us being better and City just have been quite poor this season, and that's where I sit there and think, maybe Arsenal do deserve this Premier League because there's no one been there to compete with them. So we've come out there, we've absolutely shot them to bits, and they just and they have just not been able to handle us. And I think the likes of, and we'll come on to it in a bit, like Xavi Simmons looking a lot better, Dominic Solanke getting a bit more consistent. When we do have our fully fledged fit team, I think this Spurs team, first of all, we'll get a bit more consistent under whoever manager that is. But, I think that's what it is. Because I think a lot of them took it on themselves, I hope, to go, what are we doing? What are we doing? We want to get the fans back on side. And by the end of it, it was a better atmosphere in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I don't even necessarily know if they care about what fans' opinion is. They probably don't. But you've got to have some pride in yourself, I feel like. And that first half, whether or not the manager set you up in that way and or whatever that way was. I mean, just whatever that was, turgid, whatever that was. You've got to have some pride in yourself and just play for the badge, play for your own pride. Whatever gets you going, I don't care. But me seeing Thomas Frank tell them to push up high and be animated on the touchline.
It was the most animated he's been.
Yeah, it was as if he kind of was like, well, this is my last roll of the dice here. Just take the handbrake off. Whatever, just go for it. Because when you've only got 11, 12 fit players, which has been our problem for a number of weeks now. They lost 4 in a week last week as well. It's a joke. And we have had
When do we have
terrible
an investigation into our medical staff?
I read something.
They haven't they?
I read something that it's been changed 3 out of the last 4 years.
Wow.
Whether or not that's accurate and that's correct, I don't know. But whatever the problem is, they've just brought someone in from Brentford. Someone else, I can't remember his name. Someone else has just come.
Not Dr. Nick from The Simpsons.
I don't know. But apparently this guy was actually at Brentford when they went through their worst injury crisis.
Oh,
so
God.
he'll fit in perfectly.
Amazing.
He'll fit in perfectly.
So you've got Lance from Villa, who's their worst recruitment ever. Yeah. Brentford's worst ever injury specialist.
Can we just talk about, I'm assuming we've all seen the chat.
I didn't watch it. I refused to watch it. I saw the quotes because I could not sit through.
We will talk about him in a moment's time because I want to wrap up the Man City game. Because it's
again,
no,
we're not the same positive.
Let's just quickly. Yeah. Has it given you any more confidence in Thomas Frank, that second half performance?
No.
I love how he just does it with a smile.
No, look, I've always maintained I think he's a good coach.
You must be so vicious when you dump someone. I can just smile at them.
They don't even get this grace. We're done.
They don't get appearance.
He's a good coach, and I think he did a great job at Brentford. I just don't think he's right for us. Do I think he's had a fair crack with the whip in terms of having fit players? No, I don't. But I would also say Ange didn't either across those 2 seasons. And I just also feel like the style of play, it's a no from me.
Yeah.
That's where I stand on it, and I have one agenda, and that's to bring Poch home. That's it.
Yeah. Listen, we've got to quickly talk about Solanke, and for me, not just the second goal, but the first goal as well, I thought was brilliant in terms of the whole of play. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about it being a foul.
Do you think that was a foul?
When you watch it back in slow motion, obviously he does make contact with Gay.
I think it's harsh. It's what's wrong with football at the moment, those sort of fouls.
And that's that's why the VAR thing with that. That's why I wish VAR was just goal line technology and possibly offsides.
Yeah.
But in the moment when you're kicking or whatever else, you're throwing your body.
As well, because he's sort of a bit wrong side.
That's what I'm saying. He gets in the way of it. But listen, Dom Solanke's came back. I feel he's really been done a disservice at Spurs so far with people going, he's not good enough. We're not going to replace Harry Kane. This is a generational talent. We've seen what he's doing in the Bundesliga. Please come home. My weekly rent.
What if we all got them all back together?
I know, that's the same.
Bring Nick
Get the band.
back. Get them all back.
But, Dom, the hold-up play there to get involved in that goal, the first one, but then that second goal, it's not by luck, it's not a fluke. And at first, when I heard the commentary on it, it was like, oh, how's he got that? I'm like, are you not watching what I've seen? And I think they watched back the replay and were like, oh, wow, that was special. And that is the moments that we're talking about, because at least you go home and watch the highlights and you go, how good was that?
Yeah, I feel like there was just more attacking intent, and we haven't seen that. It's all a bit, we were moaning the other week, why don't we take shots? Why don't we take shots from outside the area? Like, even in the first half, there was moments where Xavi Simmons was a bit reluctant to shoot. And I think I put in the chat, I was like, why don't we shoot? Why is he not shooting?
You get angry.
And that's the most angriest I've been, I think, in a while. But in the second half, it was like they had more freedom. That metaphorical handbrake had come off. And it was like they were wanting to try stuff. Even like the cross from Gallagher, I think that was underrated, because it was a good whip, but it was obviously a bit behind Solanke, and Solanke knew, right, I've got to get my foot on the end of this.
Do you think he actually went with the intention of trying to score a goal like that?
Yeah, I agree. 100%. As a striker, you just kind of put whatever you can.
Well, just get anything on it.
Yeah, just try and get anything on it. Yeah. Because, it doesn't matter even whatever level, you always try a little flick or whatever, just to get my body to it, and you never know where it goes. But like you mentioned Conor Gallagher there, and of course, Spurs fans have been 50-50 of him. Hit that there is exactly why I wanted him. The intensity to get the ball, drive forward and put a great ball in. He's got the ability to do that. And the way he celebrated that goal as well, I looked at him and I was like, it's another person who's got potential leader qualities.
Yeah,
I like this guy.
You forget he was captain at Chelsea. Like, look, he is Chelsea. In terms of being, as a family, they're a very big supporting Chelsea family, the Gallaghers. And obviously he's Chelsea. He's come through that whole entire system. But he has got the traits of people that we need at Tottenham. A leader, someone who can lead on the pitch, who's not afraid to get stuck in, who will push forward, take a game by the scruff of the neck. I'm all for Conor Gallagher. I don't care about the Chelsea thing. He came via Madrid.
And just to wrap up, obviously, Solanke, brilliant goals. Xavi again, second half, absolutely superb. To the point other people are now going, it's taken a while, but there's a player there. Even to the point of people are going, last 14 games, Eberechi Eze versus Xavi Simmons. I see what you...
I've
said that,
but the other person I want to say is put the deal in front of them now. Palhinha, give him a 3-year deal. Like, him at centre-half. Again, the lead, you see him celebrating when he when
he did the tackle.
That's who I want.
Was a good signing in the summer. I think he does a great job. I think what maybe I don't think people have been too critical of him, but I think what probably hasn't helped him was the Palhinha-Bentancur partnership. You don't need to have both. You only need to have one in there, and you can have a Conor Gallagher and you can have a Sarr, for example, or you can have a Maddison and have that little bit more movement. That doesn't affect his performances. He always gives a good performance.
I need him signed up. If he goes, I think it'll be a big issue for me, because...
He shouldn't. They tell you, though, don't fall in love with a lone player, and it looks
I'm in love.
Yeah, you're in love.
Moving on, because we all love this guy. He's our captain. He's nutter. And you know what? He kind of, one of those, you just don't leave him in a room with a phone or a computer, like trying to speak English.
Well, he's 2-footed, wouldn't he? That's the thing.
Oh, well, yeah. Christian Romero, Kuti, within an hour of the transfer window closing, he's called it disgraceful. The squad were left with only 11 fit players and he played through illness. Have we doomed ourselves with lack of activity in the transfer window? Is he right to speak out? Is he causing an unnecessary rift?
I will say one thing. I think, obviously, being Argentine, he speaks Spanish. That word, remember Arteta said it, disgrace, disgracia, actually does translate to misfortune and unlucky. So in that context, it's maybe just saying we're unlucky at the moment, so we don't know the full, but that's what some people have said. I think, it does ring Conte, doesn't it, of he said all the right things, but should the club captain be saying this, twice in one season? It's getting a bit telling that he's called out the board, he's calling out the injury situation, the transfer window. I mean, you look at the transfer window, deadline day, you're going into it and you think, what should we really be doing? Who should we be signing? And we go and sign some, potential Scottish striker from Hearts. Loan, I mean, they must hate us up there in Edinburgh on one half, because we've loaned Dane Scott to Hibs, and then we've taken Hearts' striker. Their manager is saying that's the wrong move. Yeah, Rangers have got Mikey Moore. I just think when you take a step back, I mean, even that Johan Lang interview, there's a quote he says where he's like, we don't want to sign players for the short term, the medium term, or the long term.
What do we want to sign him for?
What does that mean? So I think Romero, he's well and he's right, but the whole what's happened with being subbed off at half-time through illness, the statement that he's done on his social media, and then rumours coming out of Argentina that he might leave as well. it's just unwanted. It's not wanted at the moment. It adds more fuel to the fire, and especially when voices come from inside the camp, it does worry me a little bit.
See, I totally disagree with you.
Really?
I think that's absolutely fine for you to go and call out the board. What's he saying that none of us ourselves don't say? If a manager does it, you probably get sacked, right? We've seen that happen across the Premier League many a times. I have no issue with the captain of Tottenham Hotspur, Christian Romero, calling out the board and their shortcomings and the continuous lack of investment, the continuous disappointments. When you see what...
But as we know, it's unlikely to change and he'll be gone.
Sure, and he'll be gone.
And that's what the problem is.
But at the end of the day, I will take you back to Harry Kane. Harry Kane said, I will stay at Tottenham as long as Tottenham is matching my ambitions. Where's Harry Kane now?
But we did sell him the dream, didn't we, when he signed that?
But we sold him the dream in the sense that we are going to continue to progress. Yeah. We're going to continue to build players, bring in players that can be built around you and are at that same top quality level. Christian Romero is a World Cup winner. For his faults, I don't think he's perfect by any stretch. I'm very critical of Christian Romero at times.
He's also the player that Messi said to Barcelona, one player to sign him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Co-signed by Messi.
Do I think that he is completely within his rights to call out the ambition and the standards of Tottenham Hotspur? Yeah, I do, because we call it out as fans, as presenters, as content creators, we call that out.
Yeah.
So for someone in the club, I'm sick and tired of when we don't hear things from players. Or I'd have no issue when a manager calls out the board, to be honest with you. I loved what Antonio Conte did. He was spot on, but we all knew he was going to get sacked. I have no issue with it, of him wanting to raise the standards. I think that what was also telling is coming off of the end of last season where it was so bad in terms of the league, but we had such a magical moment, obviously in Bilbao. You've got that. Let's kick on. The board sit there and they say they want to kick on. You want to be competitive and compete on all fronts. We ain't competing realistically on any front other than, dare I say, the Champions League at this point because we finished fourth. Let's see how that turns out.
Listen, the Beyonce front we're doing well.
Yeah, but I have no issue with it whatsoever, and I think it's absolutely right. For all my criticism of Thomas Frank, I think it's disgusting the fact that they have left him in a January window where they had another 4 players injured in a week, taking up to about 14 or 15 players, and they signed Conor Gallagher. That's it. The only one that's going to come into first team. You've got a kid that's going straight into the under-21s, and let's be honest, that's Sousa. He ain't ever going to be seen. So for me, you've left him in a position which you have all season where we've had loads of injuries, no attacking players, and you can't do anything, whether it's a loan or just something to help. I think that's a load of rubbish.
Even the bit that did me was the whole Randall Colomwani saga.
Oh yeah.
And they've decided to back him, which I'm like, okay, but we got offered John Duran on deadline day, and I'm like, it's better than nothing. But then at the same time, now he's gone to Russia.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there was the whole Somerville stuff, the Kinski stuff. I guess what they're looking at, and I haven't seen that video of Johan Nan because, as I say, I refuse to watch it. And I guess from that quote that I mentioned earlier, they're thinking the January transfer window is not right for us to operate in. We'll reassess in the summer and attack these positions. I guess that's what they're looking at.
That's the long term.
Obviously, that's still not good enough.
The reason you have a January window, and I'm not saying necessarily buy these players, I'll have the option to buy. These can be lows, you know? I get, you need to help out.
But
Look at us, we are bare.
Do you think, for example, by being gung-ho and buying people for the sake of it, and we have seen so many of them purchases over the last 5-6 years, Brian Hill, Velez, who finally left the club this week.
But most of those have not been done in January. Most of those have been in recycling.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is just in general, they've gone, look, we don't even know.
Actually got a good track record in January.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying...
Benson Cork,
especially with no Paratici, even though he said he was helping us out to the last minute, right?
Naffle.
Do we go, if you're the owners, if you're the people with the money and the purchasers go, we don't really trust this manager, is it worth spending this money at this point? Do we see ourselves getting relegated? No. This is probably what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Should we just try and ride it out until the summer and then go and give whoever we've got coming in? I would rather personally have 300 mil set aside for, say, Pochettino, as we mentioned before, and then spend 100 of it now on some maybes, even in terms of wages and that, and putting a lone player on a big wage and just wait it out until... Because this season's done.
But we're sleepwalking. At the end of the day...
Are we sleepwalking into relegation?
No, but in general, with this transfer window, we knew we needed a left winger in the summer. And what we're doing is we're now missing out on opportunities because all the teams who are actually bigger teams by right, like City go, right, we need to, improve our attack and defence. What do they do? Gay and Semenyo like bang, bang.
But also, obviously, the wage structure for us would never have allowed us to get some.
No, but
they are starting to tweak that, though.
We were going with the biggest wages for him.
Yeah.
So there is signs that we're trying to operate a little bit differently.
It's a bit too late, isn't it?
But is this maybe a sign of things to come in terms of, right, we're not going to waste opportunities here. We've looked at all the possible opportunities. Nothing feels... That's the thing as well. We bring in players and we still don't think it's good enough.
No.
Like, we'll bring someone in... If we brought someone in from the Bundesliga who's played, I don't know, for Hoffenheim, but they've done really well there, we ain't really heard much about it, we'll be like, well, they're not Premier League proven. Like, as fans, we want a particular player. We want a particular person that fits this mould of being the Tottenham way, etc. Like I said, I think the most sensible thing of this one is to go and get Mikey Moore back from loan, for example. We're on a left-sided player.
But will he feature? Will he play?
But if we've got all these injuries, he's going to have to play.
But why they should have done that by now? Because even Chelsea have decided they've taken people, loaned some of them to Strasbourg, like they're being a bit more clever. Like a lot of our best players at the moment are all out on loan. Vuskovic, Mikey Moore, Lancashire. Like they're all doing bits.
I'll be careful with best players.
Best potential.
They're more consistent than what we're seeing at the moment.
How do we know that? We ain't seen them play.
Look at the numbers though.
Over where they're playing, their numbers are. But not in the Premier League.
Vuskovic had like a man of the match performance against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, listen, Vuskovic, we'd love to see him back, but what I'm saying is, like, you can't say that, Mikey Moore and Will Lancashire are best options. They're not. They're good options.
I think they're better, but on the bench to on in the last 20 minutes, I trust them.
We need to have...
Did you see our bench the other day?
Yeah, well, my friend's son made his debut on the bench, so yeah, big up.
Which we love. We love that for the kids. I genuinely...
But that's worse, isn't it worse? Like, you're seeing a guy on loan getting numbers, bring him back and, chuck him into the...
But that's what I'm saying. But perhaps that is an option that they can explore. That's their backup option.
I think they'd have done it by now.
I really feel like I'm like part of the board today.
Yeah, why are you being so board-like?
No, because
very defensive.
I would like to hope and think that there is a bigger picture at play here. That's the only thing I can hope for.
We say this every year.
Yeah, I'd love to know where... I think I probably, out of the three of us, I probably am the biggest pessimist because I stopped believing a long time ago that this board was serious. Yeah. I understand that it does take time, and they've said in their match notes, whatever, that they want to behave like a big club. Fine, prove it. I'll see. I don't expect it to happen after like 3 months, 4 months, whatever. No probs. But I think that they should have. If you're going to stick with this manager, whether or not they stick with him to the end of the season, which I think at this point we probably think they are.
Yeah.
I think at this point you probably just should have given him something, even if it was recalling Mikey Moore.
It's just it is ridiculous.
Just help him.
This injury situation. Just to come back to Romero, our very own colleagues at talkSPORT, Adrian Durham and Alex Cook, they debated whether or not Christian Romero is overrated. Do you see Christian Romero as an overrated player, Abby? There you go. Real Madrid, 80 million. Can we have a Kuti? What do you do?
I'd probably say go on then.
I
probably would. For me, I would rather keep Van der Ven.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy if it was Van der Ven and Vuskovic next season lining up. Because with Romero, the thing I see with him is I think he's great, but he still has a ricket in him of wanting to just bomb up the pitch. And don't get me wrong, he scored goals this season by doing that.
Been one of our best attackers.
but there's a moment where...
You know when he does that,
yeah?
He's not asked to do it, he just does it on his own accord.
And then you just see the gaping gap that's
it's factual. Like, literally, sometimes, even in the first half, it would just go up front and it just... because he wants to.
And I kind of rate that element of
There's moments where he's stepping out of that defence and as a captain and as the leader at the back, you're meant to be regimented with the other three beside you. So there are those moments, but the thing is, we got to match his ambition and show him in the summer. We had it last summer. We got him to sign that new deal.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid wanted him. We gave him the captaincy. So you hope that that's enough to convince him to stay. But the problem is now we've got murmurs, Van der Ven rumours, him rumours. It's just frustrating because you're there again, thinking we're going to go back to being a selling club.
But doesn't that tell you everything? When your best players constantly want to leave, and Van der Ven and Romero are two of our best players, it's because they want to do more than they get. Who wants to keep finishing 17th? And I appreciate that comes back onto the players as well. They are the ones that are out there doing that on the pitch. It comes down to that, the coaching, all of it. But these players have got ambitions. And when you're not having your ambitions matched, you would want to move on. It's like any workplace.
Well, back to what Danny Rose said about I have to Google the players that we bring in.
Look.
And that was such a telling...
He was right. And I'm pretty sure I probably called him out at the time, but he was right. He was right at the time.
I don't know if I can't say Coutie's overrated. He's a World Cup winning defender.
I think he's like rated. Like not over, not under. He's a good defender on his day, but he's got a mistake.
I think we rate him more than general people.
Yeah, but I think general people only see the bits where he goes nuts and he gets a red card, and they think that's. I'd love to see the actual numbers on that. I think that's compounded by it always seems to be him. I reckon if you actually put it into like context over periods of games and the numbers and did like, the XG version of cards, like you'd see it wasn't that bad. You think of some of the best centre-halves we've seen in world football in our generation of the Pepes and the Sergio Ramoses, they were nuts. Sergio Ramos got sent off all the time.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't necessarily probably, I love Coutie. I don't want him to go. I want to build around him. And you know who's going to do that? Uncle Poch. Uncle Poch comes in.
He won't go.
With Papa Ardiles. Yeah, they're going together. Like the Argentinian little flair, and they speak to him not in English or Spanish.
Just Spanish.
I'm
telling you, if this is the only way that we revive this club. This is the only way we get revived.
They come in and they put their arm around him and go, Coutie, come on, you're my man, and that's it.
I could see him being brilliant under Poch. I could see him being great. I could see Mickey van der Ven being unreal as well. Like, I think they both are. I think the partnership would be so much more solid under him. I could see Bergvall being the focal central point. He's such a Poch player. There are bones for this. I mean, I feel like I said this last
don't
week.
you get me excited.
I don't want to get you excited until it's actually happening. But the bones of this team, the spine and the core of the team is young. And I think that with someone like Poch, it is made for him to run it back. So, that's us.
I see on your channel about Vuskovic, like the three. Imagine Van der Ven, Vuskovic and Romero. Is that the greatest back three we'll never see?
Oh, that's the thing. They've all been touted away. Even Vuskovic has been linked with a move to Bayern. It's like
don't forget. I think we're having PTSD from the old Spurs days of Carrick, Berbatov, even Keane.
We've been a selling club for a while, actually.
They haven't.
When we've had sold, like Kane, I wouldn't say that was like
No.
We weren't. We dictated that. I wouldn't give that to Levy.
And again, even with Kyle Walker, Kyle was.
Why would you turn down 50 million for right back? You just.
And also, he wanted to go. He wanted to be back at North.
And arguably, we should have done more business because I think it was the same summer that Danny Rose, they wanted Danny Rose 50 million.
Yeah.
They wanted Eric Sutton.
Trippier came in, was like,
great. I think our biggest thing is that we don't sell at the right time. No. We're very reactive and we're just not proactive. And you've got to be the best, you've got to be proactive.
Yeah.
And we're not.
But like you said, I do think we haven't been necessarily a selling club for a long time, but we do have the PTSD of all of our best players get sold.
I would just like to say, I think Kevin Danso is a very good centre-back.
I think he is.
I really rate Kevin Danso.
I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And
it's actually a bit of a miss, like now that he's in.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he's really, really good. I'm a big fan.
You said to Bayern, look, we got Dragusin. You wanted him last time, didn't you? Have him. We'll have our boy back. Listen.
In fairness to the boy, he hadn't played for a year and he did a good job.
He needs applauding for that, especially coming back from the injury he had.
Yeah.
But, I know, for example, like you said, his agent's always touting him with a move away. I'm just in that place, even with Coutie. I'm like, if you don't want to be part of Spurs moving forward, I'm not going to beg you.
Yeah.
Like, we just need to move on. And we need to move on quickly and have a concise plan. And that's all I can ask for. And I'm hoping that plan involves not spending money in January, bringing it to the summer with whoever they trust.
Fingers crossed.
That is what we can pray for.
But one thing that will always be the problem is obviously this season is highly unlikely we're going to finish with any European football. So unless we win the Champions League, of course, it can happen. But that is the thing. You can't attract the best players unless you are in Europe. And if I was someone that was looking for a move to the Premier League, a very good player, unless we're going to change the wage structure and unless we're also going to, be successful with the Champions League, it's hard. It's hard to attract that and level up.
Listen, just to talk about Solanke now, him being back, I like this little link up between Solanke and Xavi that I'm seeing. And they're starting to have a bit of an understanding. I've got here on the script talking about, do you see a future where they become our new Kane and Son?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm not saying that, so I'm going to put an asterisk there. That's on before anyone starts dissing me in the comments. Because to compare them to the greatest duo in Premier League history, factually. If anyone wants to argue with that. I am very excited about it. You did a video of this on Sonny. I seen this. You said Can Xavi and Solanke explode Spurs?
I know, yeah, very YouTube title that.
I was waiting for you in the thumbnail, like.
Not that's of my other ones. But I mean, the fact that Kane and Son have mentioned it, the thing that they both had was consistency.
Yeah.
And I think this is what we can hopefully see from these two. You know, Solanke's got 4 goals since his return from injury and 4 like really good finishes. I think the one against Frankfurt, the way he like sort of drives it across goal is what we need. The first goal against City, the pass from Xavi Simmons is like sublime. And I mean, I see Xavi Simmons more like a Dele Alli type, you know, that flair, that, you know, skill, the dribbling. I feel like he offers something, even like we say how he's been like filling in for Kulusevski and Maddison. I think he offers something a bit different to them. You know, he's a bit more like, you know, we've seen him, he gets aggressive in the tackle as well. So I like his fight. And with Solanke, it's just, I think he's at that perfect age now, 28. That's prime striker age, I feel. And he's probably thinking like, you know, I've had these injuries, he's been written off a lot. And I think now he's looking at it, there's this big conversation about the World Cup.
Yeah.
Who should be the understudy to Harry Kane? I think Solanke's putting in a great case. You know, in that group of the Ollie Watkins of this world, he is a consistent goal scorer. You know, if you think the season before he joined us, 19 Premier League goals. And that was because he was in the box. You know, both the goals at the weekend, he pushes Kujanov off the ball. He beats Gay to it. It's just, we saw it all last season. He's selfless as well on the ball. You know, he wants to bring other people into play. I think they're just perfect for each other because, you know, Xavi improves Dom's game and Dom improves Xavi's game. And that's sometimes, you know, that's the bare bones of how football should work, really.
Could they be the next Kane and Son?
Have I argued well there? No, I didn't even say if they were.
I wouldn't go as far as to say the next Kane and Son, but I think that from a Xavi Simmons point of view, I've seen a lot of improvement.
Yes.
I think, you know, earlier on in the season where, I'll give you Chelsea as an example. I was absolutely caning in for that Chelsea game. Pardon the Kane pun, but yeah. I looked at him and I was kind of like, his feet and his brain are not moving quick enough. Like, they can't match up to the two. And obviously, when you're coming from a different league, the Premier League is very different. Obviously, it's far more intense. You don't get as much time and space on the ball.
Seen that in the Champions League, haven't we?
Precisely. He's much better in Europe because he has that time and he has that space to think and take the little extra moment to decide what he's going to do. Whereas in the Prem, I think he struggled with that. Also, the physicality of it.
Yeah.
But I think that what you've seen probably in the last maybe like 5-6 games or so, you've seen him be stronger, you know, definitely on the ball. I think that he's adapting his game. He's moving things quicker. That means he can see what's going on before we see it as well. We can see that eye for the pass. I think what also helps is not having the Bentancur and Polini a double pivot. You've got someone, whether it is now a Gallagher or even a Sarr or whoever else, that is able to have that pass to him, which he wasn't really getting that before. If you've got 2 midfielders that aren't ball-playing midfielders, where do you expect him to receive it from? You know? So I think that there's a lot of positives when it comes to him. Long may that continue. On Solanke, it was always going to be a massive miss when we didn't have him. There is a massive quality drop-off. Much as I love Richarlison and the work rate, there is a big drop-off, you know? So I think that having Solanke back, you see that quality. It's just always been consistency if he can stay fit. I expect him to go to the World Cup alongside someone like a Watkins.
I've always said it, his movement up front and his energy, Solanke, causes so many problems for the other team that he creates so much space.
Hold-up play is brilliant.
He's really good.
Presses really well. That's why I like he's pressing the goalkeeper at the weekend.
Yeah, and it's with intent as well. Sometimes when I watch Richie press, it just feels like he's just going around in circles. Like,
look, I think he tries, and like he's got. You can't criticise his work rate at all.
No, he's always put effort in.
It's just a quality standpoint, and like he's like you said, he's never going to be Harry Kane because Harry Kane is 1 in a million. So you can't compare him to that. And when you let a generational talent like that go, then you're going to see the difference. You'll see what an actual just normal striker is like. Yeah. But I think Dom's good.
Just to bring it back to some of the ownership stuff that we talked about that Lange interview that nobody wants to watch.
I did watch it.
Levy apparently selling up his shares. Is that a sign of something to come? Is it positive or negative?
I mean, Abby's always argued this. When I saw the news break the other day, he's been there. He's been there in the shadows. Like everyone thinks he, you know, buggered off a couple of weeks ago, months ago, but he's still there and
lurking.
Yeah,
he's always there.
He's Palpatine, isn't he, and all this, the Phantom Menace. But I just think Tottenham have to set up in general. Like we keep going on this. I mean, I hate when people bring up talkSPORT and say like the new ownership. Yeah. It's not a new ownership. There's a couple of people who've joined the board, and that's about it. It's still Enoch. It's still Joe Lewis. And the bit that also annoys me, his kids, they're about 60 and 70, you know, like they're acting like these, like the young, fresh owners in at Sunderland, for example.
The kids.
Yeah, but I just feel like, you know, the rumoured fee was he wants $1 billion, and the two people who want to buy the shares wanted to buy Spurs last year. I just feel like, you know, if he values that at $1 billion, then and what was that, 33%? Then that means Enid will. I think they'll value the club at like $4 billion, and that was more than what Chelsea got. You know, even Newcastle. I just feel like at the moment that is the only way I think we're going to see massive change at Spurs. If I had my dream summer, it'd be bring like a Poch in or something like that, proper refresh, and bring in some new owners who are going to, you know, dismantle the wage structure, pay up for players, you know, the extra 5 millions, 10 millions here and there to actually get someone over the line. Because just getting Levy out of the picture is one thing, but it's, you know, it's been 20, 25 years of this madness.
Yeah.
Like it can't go on like this.
I think that the selling...
It can.
I think the selling of the shares is a positive thing, personally. I think that, again, he's going to overprice and, you know, do what Levy does with it. But I think that the selling of the shares can't be a bad thing. That means, to me, that this club wants to be sold.
Yeah.
Despite whatever has been said, that they have no interest in selling the club. I've heard little dribs and drabs and little rumours and
in the know.
You know, a few
Yeah,
things.
no, as well.
I've heard a few little things, and I've heard that it might be on the cards. Like I said, I don't like to believe things until I see actual factual hard proof and evidence. But, you know, they valued the club when we moved into the stadium, and there was all the talk before the Saudis went to Newcastle. I think that obviously they got a great deal when it came to Newcastle, whatever it was, 300 odd mil, whatever it was then. I think we value the club at something like 6 billion or something like that. And it's like, we just obviously got to the Champions League final. And like, I think whatever they offered was still very, very nice.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough for Daniel Levy and Enoch. And it's crazy, because if that would have happened, where would we be?
I can see why they value it that high though, because it's all there.
Yeah, but you've got to take on the debt.
It just needs to, but it just needs to be like kicked up the backside. Really,
It
feels like
needs
I hate the term
ownership.
sleeping giant.
It is.
But that's what Spurs feel like at the moment. They just need that sort of.
It has got
panache.
absolutely everything it possibly could need to go on and be so successful.
Not like Man United,
Tottenham.
is it? When they
So successful. You are in London, firstly, which is obviously very attractive when it comes to buying a football club. You have got the best stadium in the country. Sorry to Everton fans that might get upset at that, but it still is. You've got the best training ground. You know, you've got an amazing venue as well.
They've got the life of Riley at this club.
Just sell the club to someone that's going to look after it and make it into a proper football club as well. It doesn't have to be bottom of the portfolio. Yeah. It can be one of the best parts about coming to Tottenham. It can be that. It doesn't every day have to be Skywalk, go-karting track and Beyonce. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a football club.
I will say one thing though, because I think like Simon Jordan spoke about it, because he spoke to Levy early in the week, and they had Ben Jacobs on as well. My one worry is, like, we see if he's selling the shares and these maybe two consortiums come in, it would look like, you know, like Manchester United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yes.
They've come in and they've gone, right, let's shake this up a bit.
Too many cooks.
Way too many.
But even though I feel like they've, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had his critics, but he has shaken the club up a bit. I feel like Enoch will still want that, you know, that full control.
No, it has to be a full sale.
That's what I
It
mean.
has to be full sale.
It?
Has to be. Otherwise, you just, it's like, how do you move forward? You've got to let go of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Let go. Take your money and go. Sit on your boats, be in the Bahamas, off you go. Don't concern yourself with it anymore.
Just give us a chance now
Leave.
to enjoy it without you.
No, meanwhile, knowing our luck, we're getting the owners and it'd be like what happened to Blackburn with the Venky's.
Oh, don't even put it out
They're
there.
still there. They can get relegated.
So just to reiterate, Levy's selling up the shares. You're saying all of them. Just get out.
Get out.
All of them.
Yeah, fire sale.
Yeah. Leave, get
Get
out.
out.
Leave. Full Jojo.
Full Jojo. All right, our next game is against Manchester United, who have been flying high since Michael Carrick came in. 3 wins out of 3, including the tricky result against Fulham, where they came back and won last-minute business. Even their signing who hadn't been doing too well, we got a goal there. We're going to see that young man finally cut his hair. He's only got a couple more to go. We're number 4. He's got the Tottenham. It was because they beat the Fulham. There's the Tottenham, and then they got the West Ham. That's how I remember.
Imagine if they lose to West Ham. My
That'd be
God.
great.
But Man United win this in their last 6 league games against Spurs. Drawn 3, lost 3. They're joint longest ever run without a win against us lads, it's Tottenham. And Spurs are unbeaten in 8 meetings with them in all competitions. But United unbeaten in the last 7 Premier League games and won all 3 under Carrick so far. Where do we see this game going? Is it going to be as simple as a Manchester United win? Or can we, away from home, we know what we can do?
I feel like it'll be similar to, some of these games. I feel like it'll be like quite open.
Yeah.
And we like that. So, but it all comes down to this game is won and lost with how Thomas Frank sets up. And I can imagine him going there being like, we'll just settle for a point or something. Going up to Old Trafford. Because I think he'll be scarred from the reverse game where we were so out of it, got back into it, and then, they came back in the last minute to draw it. So that's where I'm just...
Again, who was behind that? Vicario.
Yeah, and it's just, I even now, bringing it back to Spurs in general, even like seeing the lineups, I don't know, like the thinking behind it, I don't know. I mean, first of all, I get annoyed because they don't put it in in player order.
Well, so annoying,
the club needs to change that.
It's so annoying.
So I'm like guessing the formation. I don't know if that's a tactics thing, but it's just, I just see him overthinking this early kickoff, cursed. So yeah, it does worry me a little bit.
I don't know what version of Spurs I'm going to see. So it's like quite hard to really differentiate.
First half awful, second half really good.
If I was basing it on what I've seen this season, I've only seen literally a game against PSG that we ended up losing, a good performance, away to City, good performance, and 45 minutes at home to City.
And I'd say the second half of Villa in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
We've only been good against PSG and City this year.
That's it. If you want to squeeze the Villa one,
2 games.
I've got to squeeze it.
I think you're being kind, but okay.
I'm being kind. Trying to keep us positive, man.
I'm being positive. I don't know. I would love to obviously see the second half version of Spurs. I think that version of Spurs can take a game to anyone, and I think that if you're being direct like that and you actually want to win a game and move the ball quickly, and we've still got enough quality to be able to do that if you take the leash off. But whether or not Thomas Frank sets up that way is a different story. Yeah. So I think we'll know. Yeah, we'll know as soon as the team comes out, but we'll also probably know within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I reckon probably. Well,
that's the thing. That energy straight away.
Like if I see a midfield that's got Sarr and I see Gallagher in it, I think, all right, we're on for a game here. But then I also look at what the last few weeks of United have been like, where they're super high in energy. It's not going to be how it was, other previous visits to Old Trafford. And I think that Thomas Frank probably will revert to type, unfortunately.
Let's hope not.
Fingers crossed.
It'll be very, very boring indeed. We don't need that. Spurs winless in the last 6 Premier League games, but away form, still better than home. 5 out of their last 7 league wins this season have been away. So all of our victorious moments have mostly been away this season. Old Trafford is never an easy place to go to. It's not the same cold as it once was. But I do think actually on Saturday it will have that energy of yesteryear because Carrick's at the wheel. So you've got an ex-player there. They're buzzing from the last couple of results. The key for me is not to concede early against Man United.
We just do, but we did. That's what Thomas Frank teams seem to do at the moment, and that's where the energy gets sucked out. And you've got to hope that the Spurs away fans bring that energy away from home. But I just worry about Buemo is really good at the moment. Casemiro, they're strong in the midfield. Bruno.
Mate, Casemiro, he's put it in for his last shift for Man, isn't he? He looks like. I'd be well enough as a Man United fan. Season. But then again, no Amram, no constraints.
Yeah.
You've got a manager and character who will go to Casemiro. Mate, you've won everything. You know what you're doing. Go out there and do it. And I worry for this game because if we lose it, it's going to be back to all doom and gloom. Look how United have gone forward. They sacked the manager. We need to sack someone. That's what we'll be. I personally feel that Spurs have got a chance in this game. I think they won't set up in a way to try and stop us. I don't think they respect us enough. They can't say, what about Spurs, and then respect us and line up differently. I do think they're going to try and play the way that they want to play and make us try and counteract that.
But they don't need to change anything.
No,
Since Carrick's come in,
exactly.
he's been brilliant in terms of, tactical decisions. He's been very good. Team selection's been very good. He's just allowed them to go back to basics. He's basically done what Sir Alex used to do, so go out there, flat back 4. You've got your wingers. It's basically 4-4-2 at times. And I think he's done a great job so far, Michael Carrick.
100%.
It would be someone that I'd be interested in the summer, to be fair. Even before he went to United, he was someone that I thought would probably be quite a nice project if we were going to have a project manager again. So, which is it's always a project. It's never ending. Let's be honest. I don't expect United to change anything. I think it really depends. We've got to take the game to United. That's where I kind of sit on it. And whether Thomas Frank decides to do that or not, that will be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that with Man United and Spurs, especially the way the history's been over the last 6 games, it's very much so the team that is going to actually try and play football is going to be the victorious one, because we've all tried to counteract each other out to create the terrible final that we saw in Bilbao. I do think when we've seen Spurs go up, when Van der Ven set up Brendan Johnson in the back post and we went at them, I think Bruno got sent off in that game, didn't he? So he did allow up for a bit more space. I just would love to see that second half Spurs start the game.
Be so nice. Be so nice. Like, yeah. Like, what? I don't even know
why not? Why not?
Because that comes down to the manager. Like, and it always will come down to the manager. I don't know. Like I said at the start of the show, I don't know what happened in that changing room. But whatever did happen, I mean, hopefully that is the key to changing it all. Because I saw a completely different version of Spurs and a completely different version of the manager in that second half to what I've seen for the last 7 months. Like, I don't know what the difference is, but that second half is what we want to see. That is attacking football, front-footed football, or just at least, like, just giving it a go. And, like, us as Spurs fans, even in the Ange era, like, especially early Ange, we are all on the same hymn sheet when it's like, we are happy to lose a game 4-3 if we have to. Just give it a go. What annoys us more is turning up and not putting in a shift. And with United, who are still beatable, I know that they've taken a turn and they're on the up and, whatever. But, lads, it's United. Like, we've spent years being lads at Spurs and the tables are turned, and I know how much it irritates them. I know how much it irritates them giving us that moment where we got the Carabao... where is our trophy even? That tiny little picture. Where we got our moment in Bilbao, in the Europa League. And I know how much that annoys them, because they're like, how can we be the team to give that to Spurs? But we've got a good record at the minute when it comes to playing United. So I don't feel like Tottenham need to... We're very fearful of people. And like, you can see that in the way we set up. And that's probably a reflection on Thomas Frank because of maybe his days at Brentford, where they had to be more negative, more pragmatic. Tottenham don't need to be afraid of anyone.
No.
I don't look at any team in this league, bar Arsenal at set pieces, right? Because that's just given. I don't look at any team in this whole league and think that you should be scared of anybody. Yeah. Just kind of back yourself a little bit.
Look at the table in general.
Look at the table. I know that we're not performing, and no one should really be scared of us. But that's because we need to back ourselves a little bit. Have a little bit of faith in moving the ball forward and being attacking, Thomas. I beg you.
Quick score predictions.
Shall I back? Yeah, I'm going to back them. 2-1 win.
3-2 Spurs.
Now to finish, it's time for our bet builder with BetMGM. Remember, you can download the app or head to betmgm.co.uk. Right, as I mentioned before, let's have a look at the possible bet builder we're going to do here. I'm putting it out there, Spurs to win.
Spurs to win.
Yeah,
I've got to be positive.
I think, we were saying it before, the form away from home is really promising, and just this run we've got against Man United is quite positive as well. The thing is, with Man United, I think they've looked good going forward, but that defence is still, Harry Maguire's come a bit into form, but I think you can get at him. Martinez, I feel like Solanke could pin him and, really, really do well in that regard. So, yeah, I'm going to pick back the boys. Dunk on him.
Right, Abby, both teams to score. Should we put that in there as well?
Yeah, I definitely think both teams score.
Yeah, I think that's a given with the both way we play.
And we don't defend either, so yeah.
That's why they're having such fun matches for the Man United fans. But under 3.5 goals, I reckon. I don't think it's going to be like a 4.
The clean sheets have dried up for us slightly. I think we're obviously keeping more in the Champions League. But, yeah, I feel like, United, another 3-2 win against Fulham. They know how to find the back of the net as well. Lots of creativity. But, as we were saying earlier, Xavi and Dom will have something to say about that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, then, so Spurs to win, both teams to score, and under 3.5 goals. That is our bet builder with BetMGM. Right, let's have a look then at our confidence going into this game. How are we feeling confident, guys? Because I want to give our wonderful audience a little bit of something to hold on to.
End on a positive note.
End on a positive note.
I just feel like if we see more of that second half, then, yeah, we can all leave this studio today being happy that, if it was that every week, then we'd, build that consistency and move up the table. But if it's the first half, then, that's the problem. We are proper Jekyll and Hyde FC. And that doesn't give me faith in the manager, some of the players, the ownership that they're going to move this on. It's just the same old. But, yeah, it's simple to me. I'm not a manager. I haven't done my badges or anything like that. But to me, from an outsider looking in as a paying fan, there's just small tweaks there and you could have a really good team. To me, it's just Simple.
Come on, Abs, give me a smile with a meaning. We're going to win it.
Yeah, I do. I think we'll win this game.
Oh,
No, I don't think we'll lose this game. And I think that, like Sonny said, give us some green shoots, please. Because second half was green shoots.
We'll take it. We'll take it. That's all we've got time for this week on Inside Spurs. A huge thank you to Sonny and Abby. Don't forget this show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk, 18+, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. And we'll see you next time. Up the Spurs!